Good evening. We're here in the center of Cahal Pech Maya Monument, where the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prince William and Kate, were officially welcomed, and a reception was held by the Governor General, the Queen's representative in Belize, Her Excellency Froila Salam. Guys, they've already departed. I can tell you this much. They had a tight schedule. They were here for exactly 1 hour. But let me tell you what happened within that hour. The Duke and Duchess were able to meet with dignitaries, government leaders and their wives, CEOs in government, where they spoke from everything, including things that are happening in Belize, policies that are in place, and how Belize is moving forward as a country. Throughout the night, of course, there were presentations from Maya Chief, who gave a blessing of the event. We also had a Maya princess, the reenactment of a Maya princess and her guards on the temple that is behind me. But also behind me was the stage for speeches that were given by the Prime Minister and Prince William. Of course, Her Excellency, the Governor General Froila Salam, welcomed the Prince and his wife here at Cahal Pech. And then, of course, the Prime Minister gave his speech. He, of course, spoke about the first time that Prince William was here in Belize, and he was in government back then. At that time, Prince William was training with the Batsub in our jungles here. And the PM also spoke about the environment, the conservation works that have been happening in Belize. During his speech, he did give a toast to Prince William and Kate.
Further, my government has made a solid commitment to protect 30% of our marine species before 2030. And through the recently concluded blue bonds, over US $4 million will be included in the national budget yearly in support of marine protection and tripling Belize's budget for ocean conservation programs over the next 2 decades. We have also set up a Marine Conservation Trust Fund that by 2040 will have approximately US $100 million. This is why we applaud your efforts through the awarding of the Earthshot Prize, something that will impact not just us, but future generations working to repair and preserve our planet. Let me then propose a toast to you and the Duchess of Cambridge, and in commemoration of Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee. Long live the Queen! Que viva la Reina! Salud!
Of course, and then of course, it was Prince William's turn to address the gathering, and in a brief, about roughly 5-minute speech, he of course spoke also of the efforts, conservation efforts that are happening in Belize, and how his grandmother, the Queen Elizabeth II, lauded Belize for the work that they've done. He spoke of growing up as a child, and the Queen speaking about, Belize is actually a jewel, a real jewel, and he has had the opportunity to experience all of this for the 3 days that the Duke and Duchess were here. There's a shock process about dancing, of course, with the Garifuna people at the Garifuna Festival in Hopkins, and then also about those marine conservation groups down south. He also spoke of his time here in Belize when he trained with Batsub, and that the fact that their children would want to come. They're jealous of not being here in Belize with them. He said that he's hoping that he'd be able to provide them that opportunity to come and visit Belize. He also spoke about, of course, nice gib knot, you know, the royal rat. So that was part of his speech, and we do have an excerpt of that for you. Let's go to that speech.
He went on to say that, most of all, democracy is safeguarded by teamwork, the individual wills of all citizens, each pulling together towards the same objective. Sadly, elsewhere in the world, that vigilance is being tested today in Ukraine. Belize has joined many others in condemning the invasion and standing up for the principles of international law, peace and security. Today we think of those struggling in Ukraine, and we stand with them in solidarity. The last 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic have been hugely challenging, but it is reassuring to have heard from so many people that things are now finally on the up. COVID rates are low, the vaccination program is going well, and it's wonderful to see the hotels filling with tourists again. Catherine and I have been deeply touched by the warm welcome Belizeans have given us. We only wish we could have stayed longer. Now we know why Belize is so lovingly referred to as the jewel. We hope to return again soon and to show our children this wonderful country. They are rather jealous that they're not here with us now. Thank you all again, and have a lovely evening.
All right, guys. So there was an excerpt from the speech from Prince William. Immediately following the speeches, the Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge were escorted off the compound, where they were taken back to the hotel that they're staying at. During this process that they were here, that hour that they were here, guys, they were of course greeted by other persons. The ambassador from Taiwan also handed over a bouquet of flowers to Kate. We had a lot of things that happened in that hour here, and now it's really just a celebration where food, the cuisine that was provided by Shah Quilin and everybody else. It's really was an honor being here, representing News 5. And really capturing what happened here. This is the last event in the tour here in Belize for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. I'm Dwayne Moody, representing News 5. Thank you for tuning in, and of course stay tuned tomorrow in our newscast when we will have a full wrap-up of what happened here as well. Good night.